Top of the day to you all. Welcome once again to lecture on PD 5202. Today we shall be discussing Module 8, which is Selection and Organization of Learning Experiences. The other time we met, we talked about curriculum contents. We talked about the criteria you must have in mind as a teacher while filling the subject curriculum with subject matters. Today we shall be talking about selection and organization of learning experiences. Now, what are the determining factors in the selection of learning experiences? The first one there is learning objective set. The objectives stated at the instructional level define what the students can do after the learning experience. For every topic you want to include in the curriculum, there must be a set objective, what you want the student to achieve after teaching them the topic. The other one is students' characteristics. 2 student characteristics influence the choice of learning activities. The first one is readiness. That is the readiness level of the student. The degree of competence with which students enter the subject referred to as entry competencies. This may be determined by a pretest, the result of which can be of value in choosing the objectives and activities. Of course, at the beginning of a new topic, as a teacher, you have to know the entry level of your students. And the only way you can know that is to give them pretest on that topic. Assuming you want to teach them quadratic equation or simultaneous equation. There is no way a student will understand what you want to teach on simultaneous or quadratic equation if such students has not learned anything about linear equations. So you give them pretest on linear equation. You want to know their experience or their previous knowledge on that. If the result of the pretest you give them is favorable, you move ahead by introducing either quadratic equation or simultaneous equation to them. But if the result is not all that palatable, you have to go back and teach them the linear equation first, because they must know linear equation. Without knowing linear equation, there is no way they will understand quadratic equation or simultaneous equation. Then we have the other student factor there is the learning styles of the students. Every student has his own learning style, and that is why in developed countries, individual method of teaching is what they make use of. They attend to students based on their individual basis, because the method that will go for student A may not go for student B. Most especially, a fast learner will learn fast under any method, but a slow learner will not learn fast under the same method used to teach a fast learner. So here, the learning style will also have to be put into consideration. The other factor there is the realities of the teaching learning situation, that is, the enabling environment in your school. The environment in your school. Does it support the subject matter in your curriculum? I said this gives rise to constraints and limitations. Example, time frame of the topic may limit methods of teaching used and learning settings. For instance, maybe the subject matter, some of the subject matter you include in the subject curriculum recommends that those subject matter should be taught using cooperative learning method. And in cooperative learning method, you have to assign students to groups. Assigning students to groups, you allow them to put their hands on the task given to them while you move around to monitor and correct where necessary. And when you have to teach this topic using this cooperative learning method, the grouping method, for 40 or 45 minutes, how will you be able to accomplish the task? That is the question. The realities of the teaching learning situation. You have to consider the reality of the teaching and learning environment in your school before you can recommend or you select the learning experiences. All these things, all these factors are very, very important so that you don't just pack subject matter into the curriculum and the learning experiences, and at the end of the day, when you face the reality on ground in your school, you will be helpless, or you just teach the student for teaching's sake and they will not be able to get what you are teaching them. The last one there is teacher's characteristics. Teacher characteristics, this is talking about you as a teacher. How vast are you in your subject area? Are you a master of your subject? Do you really know the nitty-gritty of your subject? Are you aware of the different methods of teaching you can use to pass the instruction across to your students? So these are the questions. I said the preparation of the teacher and his or her teaching skills and commitment to teaching spell the difference between good and bad instructional plan. As a teacher, you know that before you go for a lesson, there are some preparation you must make. You have to pre-plan. You think about the topic you want to teach, the method, and what have you. Then the planning stage, you have to sit down, you write the lesson notes. You should know that after writing the lesson note, you have to go to the class to teach. Make use of your lesson notes and make sure you judiciously implement everything you've written in your lesson note. Then you should know that you have to evaluate after the lesson. So all this has to do with teachers' characteristics. Now, having known that, we now come to the criteria for the organization of curriculum content and learning experiences. What are the criteria you have to have in mind, or you must have in mind as a teacher, and talking about organization of curriculum content and learning experience? The first one there is you provide for the continuity and cumulative learning. Continuity is the vertical organization of learning experiences, which refers to the relationship existing between different levels of the same subject or skills. What do I mean by this? The learning experiences of tomorrow, next week, and next month are planned so that they reinforce those that are provided for today and this week. It requires a continual use of preceding learning, using what happens at one point to build a foundation for the experience to follow. So you don't just pack the subject matter without looking at how to arrange them so that the knowledge of one would lead to the understanding of the knowledge of another. So you have to provide for the continuity and cumulative learning. The second one, establish a sequence. Yes, this one also has to do with vertical organization of learning experiences. Vertical, from simple to complex, from known to unknown, and from simple to difficult. I said it's also a vertical organization of learning experience. It is related to continuity, but goes beyond it. What do I mean by this? The learning experiences of this term build upon those of the last term. That is, the learning experiences of second term will build upon those learning experiences of the first term, but go more deeply and broadly into the subject so as to produce a deeper and broader understanding and increase skill on students' part. Sequencing or sequence is not a duplication. It is putting the content and material into some order of succession. order of subsection. With successive learning experience expected, a higher level of understanding is gained. When you arrange subject matter from known to unknown, from simple to complex, students will surely get what you are teaching. Like I said the other time, if you don't test your student to know whether they have been taught linear equation, you just get into the class, you say simply quadratic equation or simultaneous equation. They'll just be looking at you because they will not get what you are teaching. Because you know that quadratic equation and simultaneous equation, they have to do with connecting 1, 2, or 3 or more linear equations together. And once a student has not been taught linear equation, well, how do you expect such a student to understand quadratic equation or simultaneous equation? So that's the essence of sequence. In such a situation in mathematics, you arrange linear equation first, then maybe quadratic and simultaneous. You don't put simultaneous equation or quadratic equation first, then you now put linear equation. So that's the essence of establishing a sequence. The other one is determine the focus. You determine the focus. Determine the focus. When you are talking about determination of the focus, of course, you have a topic to teach. You have to be focused in order not to miss the points. You have to be focused. You look at the broad topic, break the topic down into subtopics in order to make it more understandable for your student. The last one there is provide for integration. Provide for integration. This factor is horizontal relationship of the various areas of the curriculum, such as relating what is learned in one subject to what is learned in another subject. It cuts across several subjects and areas of the student's life. This is where the issue of STEM comes in. STEM education is the education whereby students are taught science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But they don't teach them, in this type of educational system, you don't teach them separately. You pick a topic, maybe in biology, that will cut across science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. For instance, maybe a topic in physics now, energy. You can teach them to cut across energy in biology. We talk about cutting an orange, you cut an orange, you let them know how will you teach energy in physics and link it with biology, link it with mathematics, and link it with what? Technology and science. So this is what is meant by integration. You teach a topic in a subject, and you now look at how you can integrate it to another subject. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, we've come to the end of Module 8 of PD 5202. Until when else we meet to discuss Module 9, do have a great day.